a comprehensive 7-month investigation into allegations made in a documentary by Al Jazeera America. The NFL found no credible evidence that Peyton Manning was provided with or used HGH or other substances prohibited by the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances. Pardon the interruptions, Tony Kornheiser thinks Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were treated differently by the NFL. Take a listen.
Peyton Manning has always been royalty. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning and Archie Manning, they are the Bush family of the NFL.
Yeah.
Tom Brady could never compete with that. In this particular case, I think and I'm fine that Peyton Manning's cleared. I'm okay with that, especially if it's fact. I mean, good for him. But in this case, the punishment of Brady seems draconian. I don't know that it's different than anybody else who has been suspended. But I can't help but think, Mike, and I think you agree with this, that they wanted Peyton Manning to win the Super Bowl, and they want the New England Patriots to lose. They're trying to get at Belichick, and they're getting at Brady instead.
Interesting. Stephen A., you on board with Kornheiser here?
No, I am not. He comes across as somebody that's sounding like it's all about what Belichick did, and it has nothing to do with Brady. Now, I understand for those out there that just heard me in the first segment, you'll say he's all over the place. Well, I am. Because there's two separate issues to me. The consistency of the suspension with Josh Gordon juxtaposed to Tom Brady is one issue entirely, regardless of how egregious I believe Tom Brady may have been in all of this. In the end, a suspension is a suspension, and if Josh Gordon has a 4-game suspension, he shouldn't be treated differently than Tom Brady just because he has an issue. Because the fact is that he's been more of a problem for the NFL in terms of image than Tom Brady could ever be in his entire career, as far as I'm concerned. But I say that to say this, Max. The reason why I disagree with Tony Kornheiser is that everybody can talk about Bill Belichick all they want to. And they can talk about how Bill Belichick is so meticulous, pays attention to every detail, knows everything. Who is unquestionably the biggest beneficiary of whatever alleged transgressions one would aim towards Bill Belichick? It would happen to be Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the quarterback. He's the guy that gets the football from behind center. He's the guy that hands it off to the running backs. He's the guy that throws it to Gronkowski, who will be throwing it to Martellus Bennett, who used to throw it to Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola and Brandon LaFell and all of these boys. Tom Brady is unquestionably the biggest beneficiary to whatever you want to point at in regards to Bill Belichick. And no matter whether the footballs were deflated or not, there is no question that the equipment managers and the deflators, or whatever you want to call them, it's no doubt that they did it to the specifications and the desires of the quarterback, because if you didn't do it to his desires, then ultimately it's not something that would vibe with Tom Brady, and we all know that, as it would be the case for any quarterback. Now, I have been on the record, Max, saying it's all much ado about nothing. I don't give a damn if Tom Brady was throwing Nerf footballs. He still waxed the Indianapolis Colts. He's still a fantastic quarterback. With regulation in the second half, I was scoring 28-0. He's still one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of our generation. He's still a Hall of Famer, first ballot. My issue with him is that he deserved what he got, because when you fight City Hall, meaning the NFL, you knew that this stopped being about deflated footballs the second he appealed his decision, and more importantly, Judge Berman ruled in his favor. They sent in an appeal. 2 hours later, they were ready to dance, because to them, this was bigger than Tom Brady. This was about Tom Brady, his lawyers, the NFLPA trying to usurp the authority of a collective bargaining agreement, and it was about sending the message that their power would not be usurped. That was what that was about, which is why I don't have a problem with the suspension. It's why I disagree with Tony Kornheiser when he talks about draconian ruling and all of this other. He might be right about that, but he's wrong about this being all about Bill Belichick, because that's how his answer came across anyway. It's not about Bill Belichick. It was about Tom Brady in concert with the NFLPA trying to usurp the power that was granted to Roger Goodell by the CBA. They had to send a message. You're going to serve those 4 games, come hell or high water. That's what they have to do. Don't think they have to do more than that, which is why I took the position I took with the Josh Gordon topic. But they had to send a message. We're going to get you 4 games.
I think what my boy Tony Kornheiser was referring to here was the kind of soft power that relationships give you. And this is your life, this is business, this is with friendships, with any kind of relationship. Good relationships generally help, and bad ones generally hurt. So I think what Kornheiser is referring to is the good relationship that the Mannings have with the NFL. The fact that, in this case, Peyton Manning cooperated with the NFL, which is what you would expect, not only from someone who actually is innocent, but from a family like the Mannings that have such a good relationship with the NFL and vice versa. That wasn't what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady was not seen by the NFL to be cooperative. So how does that play into everything? Well, you said you don't think there's any doubt. Tom Brady's the beneficiary of it. There's no doubt that he knew. I agree with you that he knew. That's my basic feeling. But I do think you could establish reasonable doubt if it was in a court of law. Now, the way it works in the NFL is it's not a court of law. It's the court of Roger Goodell's brain. That's the kid. So who he has relationships with and how they peddle that kind of soft power is significant. In the case, for example, you were talking about this not long ago, O.J. Simpson trial. I didn't follow that particularly closely. You couldn't really escape it at the time. But I was annoyed that they broke into the Knicks coverage of the finals to show the shit. But why did I think O.J. did it without even paying super close attention to the trial? Because I felt he left a confessional suicide note, put a disguise and cash in a bag, and headed towards Mexico. That's all I need to know. Now, in a court of law, if I was a juror, maybe I acquit him given a trial. But in my own personal opinion, I would think, the guy did it.
Right.
So Goodell is using that kind of standard, not beyond a reasonable doubt with Brady, but do I think he did it or not? And like me, he looks at it, he goes, smashed cell phone, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I think he did it. And because Brady didn't cooperate to the extent that Peyton did, and because the relationship isn't the same as with the Mannings, that leads to more draconian punishment.
Okay, that leads to more draconian punishment, but at the same time, it doesn't absolve Tom Brady in the court of public opinion because there's this belief that really Bill Belichick is the culprit, not him. Do we believe that Bill Belichick has something to do with it? You're damn right, because of how meticulous he is. But you can't absolve Tom Brady as if he's innocent Abe. That ain't gonna fly. And as it pertains, let me get to your OJ questions. You brought up OJ, not me. Let me bring up OJ Simpson. Let me see this. Let me say this. Your synopsis about OJ Simpson, what you just threw out there, that's the white version, with all due respect. Let me give you the black version.
Let's hear it.
We didn't need to see some letter and then him racing for Mexico. There's plenty of innocent black folks that would have done the same thing. Where to me, OJ's guilty is the blood trail. The blood in the Bronco, the blood on the premises, and all of that other stuff. That's where he's guilty, as far as I'm concerned. That's where his behind deserved to be, under the jail. Okay. But having a note and trying to get to Mexico, there's plenty of brothers that's going to do that that's innocent. Let me tell you something right now. There's plenty of brothers that's going to do that because in this system, you don't necessarily believe that people are going to assume you're innocent.
A white woman dead, you were formerly married to her, domestic violence, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, point well taken.
That's right.
Include the blood.
He should be under the jail.
The point is that even with the blood, given what the defense did, you could understand where a juror, based on the way that case went, would say in a court of law, I don't see enough evidence to say guilty because the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. But that's not the kind of decisions that people made in the O.J. case personally. They thought, fine, in a court of law, I'd say one thing. But here in my own brain, I say something else. And Goodell is not held to the standard of a juror in a court of law.
He's not held to the standard.
You're
right about that, and we're not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is that when Tony Kornheiser goes on the air and gives the impression that this is just about the Patriots, this is just about the Patriots and Bill Belichick being targeted, and Tom Brady's essentially the sacrificial lamb. Hell no.
Well, would you say this?
He's more than that. The Tom Brady
is collateral damage.
Listen,
is he collateral damage going after Belichick? For the league going after Belichick.
No.
He's not collateral damage.
Well, you could say it like that if you're saying, okay, we couldn't get Belichick, so we're going to get Tom Brady. Again, to me, why I wouldn't classify him as collateral damage, because it gives the impression that he's really innocent, but he's suffering. I don't believe that Tom Brady is innocent. I just don't care about the significance of the crime.
Let me remind you something else about why he could be the collateral damage going after Belichick. How did even Deflategate come up, right? It's because Belichick, who is Listen, even thinking...
He said ask Tom Brady.
Look, I think that Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. I think Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, and I think they cheated. I don't think that diminishes them enough to take them out of that top spot. But because super competitive people look for advantages like that sometimes.
Well, I'm sorry. I disagree with you there. I think they're both great. They're both Hall of Famers. But if we were to find out, if we were to wake up one day and find out that Bill Belichick cheated all along, I can't give him the edge over Bill Walsh.
My point is,
I can't give Tom Brady the edge over Joe Montana.
Okay. I could see that argument, too. I'm just saying I think very highly of their ability.
So do I.
Belichick, part of his greatness is his ability to manipulate the rules, to exploit rules in ways they weren't intended. So how did this all come up? What the Ravens thought was an illegal formation, which wasn't an illegal formation, but in the offseason became an illegal formation that allowed the Patriots to win that game or score on that play. That really rubbed everybody the wrong way, rubbed the Ravens the wrong way. And I think Baltimore then sits back and goes, okay, fine, smart guy. You got us. Once again, you've outthought us. You've manipulated the rules. You exploited them in ways they weren't intended. And you've done it, I guess, by the letter of the law, even though you violated the spirit of the rules. But you know what we happen to know about you? We happen to know that you also violate the letter of the law, and we're going to bust you for it. And so they gave everyone a heads up.
Well, let me tell you this.
And that's about relationships. That's about how you treat people.
I agree with that part, but what
Brady is then the collateral damage going after Belichick.
Listen. You can't. It's not collateral damage because again, collateral damage, intimates that Brady is somehow absolved from all of this, and he's not. Brady is guilty to some degree. Now, he might have been going along. There's no way he knew nothing. There's no way he knew nothing. And not only that, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to revisit. I know WEEI and everybody's going to get on me because they called me on their air to interview me about this when I called Tom Brady selfish and a bit uppity. And I stand by that. I ain't stutter one bit. Here's why. Because when you look at Tom Brady, you're saying, okay, your legacy, stop. Y'all don't give a damn about what people think. You're the Patriots. You never have. Okay, Mr. Kraft might, who I just revere, but Bill Belichick and Tom Brady don't give a damn about what the public thinks. We understand that. Tom Brady cared about those games. Certainly didn't care about his money because he got suspended a year earlier. It had cost him $1.8 million. In this particular instance, it cost him $235,000 because he got his money front-loaded with the signing bonus and everything. So we know he got over monetarily. But that's not even a big issue with him. The big issue was making sure he did not miss any games. That's what he was fighting for. That's all he was fighting for. And this notion that Tom Brady somehow cared so much about his legacy. Let me tell you something. You could have taken it to the Supreme Court. That wasn't going to change what people thought.
I totally disagree.
People who believe you're guilty, believed you're guilty. People who didn't believe it because there was nothing about the case that said otherwise.
Tom Brady had to demonstrate, particularly to his constituency, I mean, people in New England who swear by Tom Brady, but also to some undecided folks. He had to show that he was innocent, that he was being wronged. And the way to do that is to appeal it and appeal it and appeal it. And remember, according to New York state law, because it was an arbitrator, even if he gave false testimony, it wasn't necessarily perjury. So he didn't necessarily put himself, even if he wasn't telling the truth, in a position to get into further legal trouble. Not necessarily. What he has done to a lot of folks, people I talk to about it, say, especially Patriots fans, but even others, look, he keeps appealing it like he's giving the impression to people that he didn't do it, that he has some kind of righteous indignation about it.
I'm going to challenge the people that you're speaking to because, you know, Southern California is a long way from Boston. You've been chilling in the sunshine a little bit. Let's be clear about that. Yeah, I can tell, okay? That's number one. Number two, do you realize it's day two, but do you realize how asinine that statement you just made was in terms of Boston? But these people, he had to convince them that he was innocent. He's Tom Brady. He goes out there and says from day one, look, I'm innocent, but I don't really feel like being bothered. They would have said nothing because he's Tom Brady.
Yeah, but you know what would have happened?
Tom Brady. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
What happens to those
Tom
people
Brady
is when they argue. I had an argument with a producer today who's a Patriots fan.
And what did he say? And what did he say?
What she said is...
I'm sorry, I apologize.
What she said is that the rational part of the brain shuts down when you talk to Patriots fans. She said this in so many words. She would deny this, but this is what I took from it. And if it's Tom Brady, right, no matter what, it's the Patriots and they're all good. However, if Tom Brady didn't appeal anything, and for the rest of time, everyone could throw in their faces Come on. He took his punishment. He wasn't going to do anything. He said he was going to appeal.
Stop it.
He didn't
stop it.
They
That's
lose
ridiculous.
all those arguments.
That's ridiculous. I mean, Tom Brady passed gas they call it perfume in Boston. We all know it's true. It's just the truth. And he can do no wrong. Just stop it.
Have you seen Ted 2? Have you seen Ted 2?
No, I
have. You need to see Ted 2.
I have not.
Well,
having
nothing to do with this. You have to see
that promo. That promo. I remember that with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I got it.
Ted's very good. Are you not entertained?
Come on.
That was good.
Come on now. They have to be convinced of Tom Brady.
Be undecided.
No, please.
When we come
There's
back,
an election right now. They're
another
undecided.
heavyweight feeling the heat. Michael Jordan criticized for finally speaking up. Is he taking too much heat? That is the debate next. First Take, just getting started.
You know we came to win. Go hard or go home.